Let's get right into it. Number 10, tying the knot. You've heard the phrase tying the knot when people get married, right? Sounds romantic. Until you realize it was basically a polite form of handcuffing. Back in ancient Hindu and Celtic cultures, marriage wasn't about love stories or Pinterest boards. It was a contract, a transaction, a you're mine now, no refunds kind of deal. So to seal the union, they'd literally tie the couple's hands together with cloth, rope, or vines in front of everyone, like a spiritual hostage exchange. And no, it wasn't symbolic. It was binding, as in, you are now officially stuck with each other, like two goats sharing one leash. Even today, we still do it at weddings. Only now it's upgraded to color-matched satin ribbons, fairy lights, and awkward smiles while the aunties cry in the back row. Some modern ceremonies call it hand fasting, which sounds like a romantic spell but is really just ancient relationship duct tape. What's wild is we kept the ritual from people who also believed thunder was God flipping chairs upstairs and illness was caused by bad air. We ditched bloodletting and leech therapy, but somehow we held on to the rope ceremony. So next time you see a couple tying the knot at the altar, just remember, you're not witnessing a vow. You're witnessing a 2,000-year-old kidnapping reenactment with better catering. Number 9, saying bless you. When someone sneezes, you sneeze. Someone says bless you, you say thank you. Like they just stopped a demon from entering your nostrils. This comes from 6th century plague fears, where sneezing was a sign that the Grim Reaper had sent you a calendar invite. The Pope said bless them immediately before Satan slid into their DMS. Now we know sneezing is just your nose throwing a tantrum. But hey, let's keep pretending it's a spiritual event. Number 8, the red carpet. Originally, in ancient Greece, a red carpet was rolled out for gods, not celebrities. Like literally divine beings. Now we use it to welcome people who starred in shampoo commercials and superhero sequels. A sacred path turned into a selfie runway. Even Zeus is watching from Olympus like, really? For this guy? Number 7, saying God save the king or long live the queen. These phrases were originally ritual protection spells, chanted during coronations to stop evil from assassinating the ruler. Now we shout them at football matches like it's a remix. It's 2025. Your taxes pay for their security detail. You don't need to chant ancient monarchic incantations like you're warding off dragons. Number 6, why surgeons wear blue or green scrubs. Ever wonder why surgeons wear blue or green in the operating room? It's not because they're trying to look cool on Grey's Anatomy. It's because white, their original color, was straight up messing with their eyes and their minds. Back in the day, doctors wore all white to symbolize cleanliness, purity, and trust me, I definitely washed my hands. Problem? Surgery involves a lot of blood. And staring at red splashes on a white background for hours is basically like staring into the sun while solving a Rubik's Cube inside someone's chest. Surgeons started reporting eye fatigue, migraines, and visual hallucinations. One moment they're stitching an artery. Next thing they know, they're seeing red ghosts on white walls. So in 1914, one genius surgeon said, "You know what? I'm done looking like a butcher in a snowstorm," and switched to green scrubs. Why green? Because green is the opposite of red on the color wheel. Your brain literally resets when you shift between the two. It calms your eyes, restores contrast, and helps surgeons stay focused when they glance up from a pool of crimson spaghetti. Blue works the same way. It's calming. It hides bloodstains better, and it doesn't reflect light like white. So you're not getting flashbanged by overhead bulbs during brain surgery. Also, let's be real. If you're about to go under the knife, would you trust someone who looks like they just won a fencing match in a milk factory? Or someone dressed in sleek blue or surgical green, looking like they walked straight out of House MD? So yeah, today's scrub colors are less about style and more about not hallucinating while holding sharp objects inside your liver. Number 5. The origin of the prescription symbol, RX. You see it every time you pick up medicine. That strange prescription symbol that looks like the letter R tried to stretch before a jog. But where did it come from? Is it a code, a wizard's signature, or just a doctor's handwriting gone rogue? Turns out this little squiggle is ancient, like older than Jesus and Julius Caesar arguing over herbs kind of ancient. There are a few theories. One popular idea? It comes from the Latin word recipe, which just means take this. So old-school doctors weren't writing prescriptions. They were writing medieval cooking instructions. Except instead of add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, it was more like take 1 crushed beetle, sprinkle with mummy powder, and chant 3 times. Another theory? Jupiter. Yes, the Roman god of thunder and sky insurance. Ancient Roman doctors believed invoking Jupiter's power would bless the medicine. So the RX was actually shorthand for may the gods not let this kill you. And then there's the Eye of Horus theory, a sacred Egyptian symbol of healing and protection. Legend says Horus had his eye ripped out during a celestial family brawl, and it magically healed. So the eye became a symbol of wholeness and restoration. Basically, the RX is a historical mashup of spiritual prayers, bad Latin, and ancient superstition. All rolled into a modern logo we now slap on pill bottles, pharmacy signs, and do not mix with alcohol warnings. And here's the kicker. Even though we no longer believe the stars are in charge of our digestion, we still use this ancient symbol today. As if your cough syrup was handcrafted by Egyptian priests under a full moon. So the next time you see RX on your meds, just know, you're not just getting antibiotics. You're getting 5,000 years of vibes, mythology, and questionable Latin. Number 4. The foot as a unit of measurement. Ever wonder why we still measure things in feet? Like, who decided your leg extension was a valid way to build a skyscraper? Well, here's the wild truth. The foot was literally based on an actual human foot. Because ancient people didn't have rulers or tape measures. They had sandals and guesswork. So they used body parts to measure everything. A cubit was your forearm. A span was your outstretched hand. And a foot was, well, your foot. Which sounds fine, until you realize, not everyone had the same shoe size. So construction back then was basically, let's build a wall 300 feet long, by Greg's foot. And if Greg had small feet, congrats. You just bought less land than you thought. It was chaos. You couldn't build a house without 3 arguments and someone taking off their sandals mid-deal like, nah bro, I swear this was 5 feet last week. Eventually, King Henry I of England stepped in. His royal solution? From now on, a foot is the size of my foot. So they literally cut wooden sticks to match the king's shoe, and that became the official ruler. The royal foot became national policy. You know, classic monarchy stuff. Fast forward 900 years, and we still measure things based on some dude's medieval foot. Even though we now have lasers, satellites, and apps that can measure your wall just by pointing a phone at it. Meanwhile, the rest of the world has switched to meters. but not the US because freedom and confusing math. So yeah, that couch you just bought is 6 feet long because some English guy in the 1100s had big feet and a lot of confidence. Makes sense, right? Number 3, X for a kiss. You end a message with XOXO. But did you know that X was originally a symbol for Christ? In medieval times, people who couldn't write signed documents with an X, kissed it to seal it with sincerity, like a divine pinky promise. Now we spam X's in texts like emotional punctuation. What used to be sacred is now flirty filler. Number 2, naming hurricanes. So, why do hurricanes have names like Katrina, Andrew, or Harvey? Sounds more like your high school classmates than world-ending storms, right? Well, before we had radar, satellites, and 24/7 weather apps, people still had to talk about storms. And when you're living in the Caribbean and a swirling sky monster is coming to eat your village, you want a name you can scream fast. The original term was huracan, a word used by the Taino people to describe evil wind spirits. Basically, if you see the trees flying, it's huracan again. Run. Then the Spanish colonizers arrived and were like, let's baptize this storm with a saint's name. If a hurricane hit on St. Catherine's Day, boom, it became Hurricane Catherine. Storm season turned into Catholic calendar roulette. Fast forward to the 1950s, and weather scientists got tired of writing, violent rotating low-pressure system approaching from the southeast. So they started naming hurricanes after women. Because, storms are unpredictable and moody. For decades, only female names were used. Until people, rightfully, started asking, why are we blaming only women for property damage? In 1979, men were added to the list. Now it's a gender-equal apocalypse. Hurricane names go in alphabetical order, skipping letters like X, Y, and Z, because apparently even nature draws the line at Xavier. If a hurricane causes too much destruction, the name gets retired forever. So no more Katrina, Sandy, or Andrew. They're basically on Mother Nature's no-fly list. And the irony? We still name them. Even though the storm does not care. It will still flip your car whether it's called Hurricane Bob or Category 5 Pain Tornado. So yeah, what started as ancient spiritual panic and Catholic weather labeling is now a rotating guest list of storm celebrities. And somehow, we're still doing it. Like, oh no, Becky's coming. She's Category 4 and mad. Number 1, wearing ties, yes, the necktie. That weird cloth ribbon that chokes your neck at job interviews. Where did it come from? Croatian soldiers in the 1600s used them to tie their uniforms closed. French aristocrats saw it and said, ooh, fashion. Now it's a mandatory noose for weddings, boardrooms, and school uniforms. No purpose, just pressure. A grown man walking around with a silky leash like it's normal. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.